You're good to go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Inuvik regular council meeting. I'd just like to acknowledge that the Town of Inuvik is within the Gwich'in settlement area, adjacent to the Inuvialuit settlement area, home to the Gwich'in, the Inuvialuit, Métis, other Indigenous people from throughout the Northwest Territories in Canada, and other people that have made Inuvik their home from throughout Canada and the rest of the world. All of this makes Inuvik a great place to live. Item number 2, the adoption of the agenda, moved by Councillor Merrill, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Any further changes, additions to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Item number 3, declaration of a conflict or of interest or pecuniary interest with any of the agenda items. Councillor Gillis.
8.2.
8.2 declared by Councillor Gillis. Thank you. Any further conflict of interest on any of the items? Nothing declared. Delegations, presentations, or petitions. I think we're good there. Item number 5, public question period. I think we're good there. Item number 6, adoption of the minutes from the May 11th and 13th council meeting. Moved by Councillor Day, seconded by Councillor Merrill. Any further changes to those minutes? All good. All those in favor? Motion carried. Now, there were no further changes to the action items. New business. Request for council decision. Commercial free tipping. Let's get them. Okay, so we had the discussion on Monday that there were, perhaps we will just read out those 3 options so that we don't have any confusion on that. Cindy, if you just want to read those out.
So the motions are to approve the motion to waive the fees entirely. The next option is to approve the motion to waive the fees with a 10 trip cap of any size load per customer or business. Number 3 would be to approve the motion to waive the fees with a 5 cap of any size loads per customer or business. Option number 4 is to defeat all of the motions. And number 5 would be to defeat the item via motion with direction to administration on how to proceed.
Okay, so we did have discussion on that. Unfortunately, Councillor Barrett is not here and
He is.
Okay. Sorry, you snuck in after I turned my back, so do we have a motion on the, or a mover, and what motion are you moving? Councillor Barrett or Deputy Mayor Barrett, do you want to make that motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion for the 4th option with the 5 load cap.
Okay, seconder to the motion, Councillor Merrill. Any further discussion on the tipping fees? And again, it's residential wise, it's free if you're cleaning up. This was just for the commercial and industrial. Councillor Day.
I don't think that's sufficient enough for a good cleanup of our industrial area and our community. If you were gonna scale it back a little more, notice would have been good. So I would be happy if we can allow 10 loads at this time until maybe next year.
Thank you, Councillor Day. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Councillor Day, but I'm on the other end. From the information we got from Daniel, there is, I would say, a very few commercial users that are using this the most. They're taking advantage of it. And although I do like the idea of the spring cleanup, I mean, I think if you said, yeah, well, there's two things. One, end dump load is quite a lot of garbage to accumulate for most companies over the year, maybe not the larger ones. But I think it encourages maybe companies to hang on to garbage for a long time. It's not fixing the problem of a lot of the garbage that was sitting on the industrial area anyway. I think even if you went to a one load dump, and I know it's not on the table, but it's a reminder to companies to say, hey, it's time to spring cleanup. You're allowed one end dump, which I think should be changed to a weight, actually, because most companies don't have an end dump. So I mean, if you said you're allowed so much garbage to dispose of freely, it would be a reminder to clean up your yard and wouldn't change things, and it wouldn't encourage you to accumulate garbage over the year.
Yeah, certainly the weight thing is something in the future, once we change the current landfill contract and have the scale and we're charging people by weight, then we could go to a weight limit if we wanted. Just a reminder to everyone, in the environmental area where the landfill is located, we have a $200,000 deficit for this year. So, given the fact that this program has been going on for 20+ years, I think people know about it. It's just people in the industrial area haven't acted upon it because it seems to be getting more and more cluttered and people not taking care of their properties. Any further discussion before we have Councillor Gillis?
I don't agree. I think people are using it down there. I think the people that are cluttering the places are people that have left their companies and no longer there and not taking care of it anyway, and maybe we should enforce some bylaws to that. And I'm with Ned. I mean, we said that, or Councillor Day, sorry, we said that not very many people are taking it. We didn't get any numbers. We found out that one company was a big number of that 22,000 or whatever it was. And that person probably has an end dump. So the people that don't have end dumps are just using truckloads or could be, and they're not getting 10 or 5 end dumps, they're getting one end dump of 5 trucks. So I agree with Ned, there hasn't been, or Councillor Day, sorry, there hasn't been, if we're advertising it as something that end of the town or that part of the town does come to be, so I'm with his option. Clearly.
Councillor McDonald?
I agree with a whole lot that you said there, Councillor Gillis, honestly, that not everybody has an end dump, and that's why I said the weight, like the weight would be sufficient, because we don't all have end dumps, right?
Yeah.
But we shouldn't, where's the fairness in 10 end dumps or 5 end dumps and 5 truckloads? So maybe we can clarify that and say, okay, 1 end dump and our 5 truckloads are, I mean, it gets difficult, but like, I agree there has to be a fairness to this.
Yes, and it also has to be something that the keeper at the landfill, at the gate, can then quantify easily so that the person hired isn't in between, well, is that a big truck or is that a little truck or is it half full, is it partly full? So I think until we get to the situation where we can do weight, then we're probably still left with 5 of whatever, 10 of whatever. So that's just because of that decision making. Councillor Merrick?
When are we likely to have the weigh scale with the dump?
Well, we have one there, but the software and the computer, but also the current contract isn't tied to weight, it's tied to size of the trailers or size of the trucks.
Okay, so right now it's not realistic to use weight.
Not this year, but that contract is renewed in December, the end of the year.
Yes, that contract expires at the end of 2026, so December 2026 is the end date for that particular contract. But having said that, the scale we have at the dome, like I said, on Monday has a couple issues. And I actually had my staff out there today. The sensors aren't working right. They have to park in a particular way for them to get reading. We tried looking at the company that supplied it to us. Their company is now defunct. They don't exist anymore. So she's been doing a whole couple of research, trying to find individuals that probably used to work in that company. So she sent one email just before the end of today, trying to reach out to individuals that used to work for that company, all new companies whose systems can work with our existing equipment, unless we want to change the equipment entirely. So there's going to be a couple of research that needs to be done into how we can fix that, because like I said, the company doesn't exist anymore. If you're going to go with a new system completely, then that's capital cost in terms of replacing the entire scale and entire system. So we're looking into that. She was out there today. We've sent a couple of emails out, but definitely can't be achieved for this year's pre-dumping.
And can we achieve so?
Can't.
Thank you, Daniel. Any further discussion?
Can I just say one more thing?
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Barlick.
Yeah, so thanks for the input to my fellow councillors. I mean, obviously, this whole issue is completely discretionary to the council. We don't have to do it. We can, choose how much of it we want to allow. If there's still concerns over the motion as it's stated now with the 5 load cap, councillors are welcome to vote to defeat the motion. And then, we can figure it out from there. So I'll just like to call the question right now. We can put it to a vote.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Barlick. Those councillors in favor of the motion, which is limiting 5 loads per company, per business. Those councillors in favor.
Aye.
Those councillors opposed to the motion. Motion defeated. Okay, so that has been defeated. Can we go to another motion?
I'll have to.
I believe you can. It just cannot be the same motion again.
Can't be the same motion, but it can be a new motion.
I believe so.
Okay. Okay. Councillor Merrill.
So we could do a new motion to send it back to administration, trying to find a more equitable way to define what loads are and whatnot.
Not this year, because we cannot go to the weight option. And I think it would be a burden on the current manager at the dump to then assign his staff that here's how you have to manage that. I don't think that that's possible.
Gets a bit complicated.
So we're still counting the number of loads, whether it's a end dump or whether it's pickup.
Okay.
Councilor McDonald.
Yeah, I don't think it's, if you ask them, I would doubt that they would say it is a burden, that whether we said it was 1 end dump or 2 end dumps and 5 or 10 trunk loads, I don't think that's that difficult to track, and it's also beneficial to them. I think they might be in favor of that. That's just my feeling.
Yeah. The current system that we have, which is delineated by different size trucks and trailers, is an ongoing battle between the people dumping and the current contractor. So, I mean, in this case, they're still counting, or, again, we would have to define whether is it a pickup with a trailer? Is it a pickup with a little trailer? Is it a pickup with a big trailer? All of these things are currently debated now, and several contractors have basically thrown the book back at the poor gate attendant because they're suggesting something that the contractor suggests isn't right. So it's not, yes, it seems like it would be very straightforward, but I think the easiest thing is to identify the number of loads, no matter what the truck size.
Or again, alternatively, we don't have to offer it at all. It's not an obligation from the town. It's a benefit to the businesses that may take advantage of it.
Yep, and we have a $200,000 deficit in that department. Councilor Merrill.
If you're paying for an end dump, what does it cost?
What do you mean paying for someone to go?
If you're the person taking it out to dump it and you're paying the fee, what does it cost you to dump it?
$250? Daniel, is the fee for an end dump at the dump, is it 150?
I'm just trying to.
165, I think.
I can't confirm the exact amount off the top of my head. I'm just trying to look that up on the web.
So. Last year we allowed 20 loads, right? 10. So how did they accumulate $12,000 in 10 loads?
Because there was several different companies dumping, I guess. But we'd have to ask Daniel that question.
Okay, that's. Just the numbers didn't
Yeah.
jive there.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
But yeah, have to remember, some people in town have more than one company or more than one business. So it may not have been, the 10 isn't, necessarily that's all some companies would have had. Find it there, Daniel?
So for the 1 ton truck and truck trailer combination, it's $68.25 per load, it says here. And then for the small 1/2 ton to 1 ton, it's $36.75. This might be the whole, yeah.
I know a truck and a trailer is 65, so the 68, but the end dump and there must be a price in there, which I think Ned's right, it's 150 for an end dump, and then that's for like a 16 meter cubed, and then most dump trucks are, those are 10 meter cubed, so I think they're 125.
Okay, I think we had some misinformation in, because there's no way that one company. That would equate to about 100 loads. At that price.
Daniel, when you gave the information the other day that there was.
So 11,000, slightly over 11,000 was from one company. Now, was it just his load? Was it somebody else's load? Was it, we don't know whose load it was? But the name, I have it on my computer, and I can probably share that, with the SA tomorrow, and she can send that out to the team. But yes, to all councillors, but we have the tickets for that whole week of free dumping by businesses, and that was collated, and that was the summary of it.
Okay, so I think. I don't know what happened there. Maybe they were doing it for somebody else. Maybe it was the one company dumping it for many companies, but I don't know how that was recorded into free dumping for one company. That doesn't make sense for the motion that we passed last year.
Where does council want to go on this, Councillor Day?
I'll make the motion for 10 free dump, unlimited size for this year.
Because you have voted or defeated the motion, it's the majority voted no, so that is the end of that resolution. So the motion is withdrawn.
Okay,
So that motion is withdrawn, but can Deputy Mayor Barlick had thought we could make another motion, or we don't have the freedom to make a different motion.
like I said, so can we defer this and maybe get the right information? Maybe like it's. Oh yeah, I do feel fairly strongly, and Ned feels very strongly, but I don't think we have the accurate information even to
All right.
pursue it.
Let's defer this. We will allow staff to get
Defeated?
additional information
We will make
plus
this.
on whether or not we can even bring up a motion at this point. So until after the June 10th meeting, there will be no free dumping. But that still leaves time before the snow flies, hopefully. Okay. And maybe after going through the budget, maybe we'll feel different about it. All right. Item 8.2, request for council decision. This is discretionary use, manufactured building construction. Let's get a motion on the table, and then we can have further discussion on that. And this is, Councilor Gillis has declared a conflict, moved by Councilor Merrow, and just so we're clear on that, what you're moving is the approval of discretionary use for the manufactured building construction and the clubs and lodges land use. Seconded by Councillor Day. Peter, do you want to just give a overview of this so that all the councillors have an understanding of what they're approving and that this is discretionary use and that's why it's come to them?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, thank you very much. Good evening, Council, and I'll provide a very brief verbal discussion. The site in question is a component of the former Blueberry residential site. I've been given screen sharing power, so I'll put this up so I have a visual behind me instead of you just seeing my giant head in your room. The images the map is of the proposed 2025 zoning bylaw, but the zoning is R2. I included this map because it shows the current lot structure, because the one on the 2015 map, there's been some subdivision since then. So Inuvik Regional Corporation is looking at setting up a youth center with a attached daycare at this location, and is looking at this site for something else down the road. There are contaminated buildings that would need to be demolished, and I understand the cost of removing those buildings is quite expensive and should be done in conjunction with a redevelopment project to keep the financing clearer. And the detailed design process is also, as you know, fairly expensive, and they're hoping to, if the project is allowed to proceed, to move to clearing the buildings, the contaminated buildings, and installing piling in the winter. Now, these are very expensive items, and the R2 zone in the 2015 zoning bylaw does not list such a thing as a youth center, but it does allow for a term where uses that council considers to be consistent with an R2 zone. And in the 2015 community plan, what's listed as being appropriate to residential uses includes institutional uses, which would be consistent with a youth center and daycare. So, and in the zoning bylaw from 2015, a daycare is not permitted to be the primary use of a building in the R2 zone. But that is not their intention. Their intention, the primary use would be a youth center, and a secondary use would be a daycare, and that may amend with some time. So I have suggested using the definition of clubs and lodges, which is in the 2015 zoning bylaw, facilities open to members only for private gatherings, meetings, or other assembly uses related to the organization. I believe that's consistent with a youth center that's owned and run by the Inuvik Regional Corporation. And so I've suggested that council consider stating either on an interim or permanent basis that council agrees with the statement that this use is consistent with R2, and by doing so, you're helping move forward the project in terms of the removal of these hazardous buildings this summer and installation of pilings in the wintertime, but you're also giving a green light to staff and myself to go through what will probably be a fairly complex development permit process, because we're looking at a multi-use building in R2 zone with unusual topography, unusual uses, certain parking requirements, other factors that will need to be considered. And all of that is quite time intensive and expensive. So it was my judgment as development officer that this question should come to council at this stage to be answered as in either an interim or preliminary basis. We can come back to it at the final, when the development permit is ready for the final go. And, or you could just say it's good, you're comfortable with the use and you don't want it to come back to you. Either is perfectly fine, but it seems a logical step before the kind of expenditures that would be required to bring this to a final development permit stage that I've discussed. And the other condition is one we've voted on several times already, which is the use of manufactured building components, which require a special permit under the 2015 zoning bylaw. Thank you. Open for questions.
Thanks, Peter. Questions from council, Councilor Merrill.
The two things, one is the blueberry patch. Everybody keeps leaving off the word patch there, very crazy. Because I want that site to have blue buildings on it. The other question I have is that, is there another daycare operating, or is it the youth center also provides after-school care, which falls under daycare?
Sorry,
Mary
the
Magdalene.
sound was a little garbled. I didn't fully understand the question.
Sorry. Okay, you got the part about the patch, right? I'll send you an email, Peter. So my question is, at the youth center, they also do after-school care, which falls under daycare funding. So is that what they're calling the daycare, or are they actually opening a daycare on the site as well?
Based on my conversations with the IRC to date, I anticipate that a new daycare will be established, but if I could be mistaken, and I believe that IRC may change its mind through the development permit process. But the way I have understood it is a new daycare will be established. If there's a member of IRC in the room, they may be better qualified to answer that than myself. But to go back, the primary use will not be daycare. The primary use would be club and lodge. And daycare would be a secondary use, which has its own section in the 2015 zoning bylaw. So once we have the clubs and lodges, either given preliminary or full permanent approval by council, we can then move to the daycare regulations, which would be a secondary use, potentially a potential secondary use on this project.
The drawings in the package clearly state Inuvik Youth and Early Childhood Center. So it would be a daycare and a youth center.
Okay, because we definitely need more childcare spaces. So my other question is not the Malagasy program, the family support program, it would be located at this site as well, would it not? Would it be offices there?
I'm
Maybe
just
we
gonna
could get
get the
Gary to
representative from IRC to come up, and I think he would be better to give you, more of a concept of where they are approaching.
Hi, it's Gary from IRC. So if I understand the question is correct, you're asking if Malagasy offices would be located there? That's correct, their office. This is just what we're envisioning. I mean, this is the high level plan. We haven't got obviously plans in the detailed plans, development plans, but that is what we are envisioning. Yes, office space.
Okay, so just for clarification, with the conditional or the discretionary use, that there will be a youth center, offices in there, and then also a early childhood center. Any further discussion needed on this? Gary, did you have any other updates that you wanted to convey to council before council votes on this?
Mr. Schultz, I see you're ready to talk, so why aren't you far away?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe the question that that's being asked of council specifically, are you comfortable with the clubs and lodge use being at this location within the R2 zone? You can, if you want to look at the detailed final strategy before the development permit is issued for the appeal period, I would put an interim resolution on that. And it's also allowing that's what question one. The offices and the daycare would be secondary uses, which have certain ways of being approached in the development permit, but they have to be taken as a package. which can be impacted by things like servicing and parking, and like it's detailed work. I don't have enough information to do, I simply cannot issue a development permit right now because I don't have enough detailed information to give council a full question. But this primary use, because the process to the client and to the town is significant resources to put into this, this is why we're asking council, are you comfortable with this primary land use at this location? The second question is sort of the manufactured one.
Right, thank you, Peter. Councilor Merrill.
What is the manufactured portion? Is that part of the actual building going up, or are there other buildings there?
It's a modular building. If you look at the pictures,
Yeah, it truly is modular,
Yeah.
right? Okay, okay, because I mean, we have a great need for these services, and that is the end of town where most of the families who'd be using those services are living.
all right, we have a motion on the table to approve the discretionary use of the manufactured building construction and the youth center lodges, land use. Those councilors in favor.
Sorry, can you read them out because they're two separate ones?
Okay.
They're two separate motions.
Yes, so if you look at the back of the page, yes.
Okay. For the first one, motion number one, and we're gonna use the same mover and seconder on both motions. Motion number one, be it resolved that the Inuvik Town Council hereby approve the proposal to accommodate a discretionary use of clubs and lodges at the following location, lot 2, block 45, plan 2098, as per section 6.2.30 of zoning bylaw 2583/P+D/15 to accommodate a youth center. All of those councilors in favor.
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion number two, same mover and seconders. Be it resolved that the town of Inuvik hereby approves the proposal to accommodate a discretionary use manufactured building components at the following location, lot 2, block 45, plan 2098, as per section 6.2.3 M of zoning bylaw 2583/P+D/15 to accommodate a youth center. All those councilors in favor.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Gary.
I'll let her.
Back in. We don't have any bylaws, department updates were given on Monday, information items were given on Monday. We didn't have any council concerns.
Sorry, I have an update on the one information item I brought up.
Sure.
According to communication today, the water, with the Clavic, it's already passed the Clavic, so we are stood down. And, we are moving forward into spring.
Okay. We just need a motion to go in camera. Moved by Councilor McDonald, second by Councilor Merrill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Sorry, who was the seconder? McDonald and
Merrill.
Merrill? Okay, I'm going to stop recording and, we'll take a short break in case anybody needs to